That's not going to work. What I need are some speaker stands.
Yep, that'll do.
Okay, I'm going to make these as quickly and cheaply as I can using as much stuff that I have in the workshop. So the top of the speaker stand is just going to be this pine board. It's just furniture board, just laminated strips of pine. It's not the best quality, but it's going to be painted anyway. And these are just offcuts. You can see the old adage about measure twice and cut once is very true. I measured this initially at 27 by 18. Or I remembered it as 27 by 18, but actually it's 28 by 17. So you need to make sure I cut the right size. That's the size of the speaker, the Leek Mini speakers that I've got. So I'm going to cut that out, and then because of the shape of these offcuts, the front and back face will be the end grain of the wood, which I could spend ages trying, sanding and filling and priming, but I'm just going to edge it with this teak edging strip and then paint it all. So obviously it's not going to match at all, but it's going to be painted black in this case. So very simple, about as simple as I can make that. For the legs of the speaker stand, I bought these on eBay. These were something ridiculous, like £9 for 8 legs. So I'm going to use these, and they just screw to the bottom of the speaker stand. As always, these looked a little bit better in the listing than they do in reality. I thought this was more of a brass effect, and you can see it's been really poorly sprayed. Don't know what they masked it with. So what I'm going to do instead is spray them black and 3D print these collars. What the effect I wanted was kind of like a brass, I think they call them dancette legs, kind of a brass effect for the bottom piece. So I think that looks pretty good. It's a nice clearly defined line there, and this brass PLA filament actually looks quite convincing. The kind of layers of the 3D printing almost gives it like a turned effect, so or a brushed effect anyway. So that will go on there, and then these legs come with these domed feet. I'm going to take those out, and I just bought these on Amazon, just some furniture stoppers threaded and some speaker spikes, 8mm I think. That will go in the end, just hammer them in. So the front 2 legs will have spikes, so that it goes through the carpet to the floorboards. The back leg, because it's going to go up against the skirting board and we've got fitted carpet and there's a gripper strip under the carpet, the back leg I'm just going to have sitting on this pad against the back wall. So it'll sit on top of the carpet, the back leg. I'm sure audiophiles will be horrified by that. Normally you want the speakers to go through to the floor, but the front 2 legs will do that, the back one won't, so it is what it is. And I think that's about it. Then I've just got some short screws to screw into the furniture board. So about as simple as I can make it. These cost a few pounds, but hopefully they will look convincingly like 50s-ish speaker stand. I did look at some different period things on the internet, so I haven't seen anything exactly like this, but I think they will look great. So I'm going to get on with cutting the board and edging it.
Okay, so I'll just show you how I go about edging. So what I didn't mention is that I've painted the end grain of the wood with some diluted varnish, just so the glue has a better chance of something to stick to rather than soaking into the end grain. And this iron-on edging has like a heat sensitive adhesive, like hot melt glue. So I just use the iron to get it into place roughly, and then I'll go back over it again and really get some heat into it. Pressing down fairly hard, trying to keep it level on the edge and really get some heat into the edging strip and the wood as well. Then once it's really hot, I'll use a cloth and press down on the area I've just heated up to make sure it's really well stuck to the wood. It's too hot to do that by hand. You need a cloth to cover the wood. But that just makes sure it cover, you know, if there's any irregularities in the end grain or the edge, it's really well stuck on. Then I'll just use some scissors just to roughly cut it to size. Obviously all this is going to be sanded before it's painted, but just get it roughly to size. So this is the iron I've been using. It's a Morphy Richards travel iron from the 50s or 60s. You can see here the 2-pin plug that came on it. It's got the MR logo for Morphy Richards. Obviously I've cut that off and put a new modern plug on it with the 3-amp fuse. This was a guarantee registration that was in the box. I don't actually think it relates to this iron because it's GEC, who didn't own Morphy Richards at this time. But if anyone knows Mrs. Brooke from Carshalton, then let her know I've got a guarantee card from 1955. The other things that were in the box were this little packing slip. I think this is original, so that was put in from the factory, and then the instructions, which you can see here, and you can pause these if you want to read them, but fairly typical instructions for this item from that sort of period. And then this is the iron itself. So really nice, handy size. It's a travel iron. It folds up, which doesn't really matter, but it's not too heavy. It's got enough weight to be useful and a nice smooth base plate. And it's very handy. And also it's got a temperature control, which not all irons had at this time. So I haven't shown you all the steps in between because there's not a lot to show really, but we've got the furniture board which is painted. It's not perfect, but the speaker's going to go on there. All you'll see is the edge, and you can see there that's painted with the edging strip. And then I have just marked out the feet or the legs and drilled pilot hole because some of these are quite close to the edge. So I drilled pilot hole partially part of the way through, just marking the drill with some tape so I get the depth right, and then I've just screwed those on, and the legs are sprayed as well. So all I've got to do now is put the collars on. So these are the 3D printed brass PLA collars, because as I said earlier, I want these to look like they're brass. I think these are called Dansette legs in the furniture world. So I just need to put these collars on, which I'm not going to glue them on. I'm just going to place them on because I think the legs will hold them in position. And then these are all slightly different, so it's a matter of getting that's too big. Yeah, they're all slightly different sizes, so some of them fit really well, some of them don't. So there are our brass, well, that's the front. Those are our brass legs, or brass effect, and black legs. So then all I need to do is put in the spikes and the back feet. And these I just sized these as close as I could to the legs. So let me just get a hitty thing and hold on. Okay, so that's very simple. And then the spikes will go in there, and I can adjust them so that the speaker's level. I won't show you go through screwing this in because it's going to take an age. But that's it basically. There we go. About as simple as I can make a small speaker stand. Okay, so there is the speaker stand with the Leek mini sandwich speaker on top. You can see it fits perfectly on the top of the speaker stand. I sized them so that they kind of sit flush. I think it looks very neat. Obviously, if I ever change the speakers, I could just make a new top. Not difficult to do. But I really like the effect of these Leek mini sandwich speakers. The grill cloth pattern is very 50s. It bugs me that someone's glued the Leek badge on at an angle, so I'm going to try and fix that. I don't think that's original. But otherwise, very happy with how these have turned out. I think they look very 1950s, and so yeah, really happy with them. The only modification I could make is to kind of incorporate a clip in that back leg so that I could run the speaker cable behind the back leg, but actually I'm not too bothered about that in this position. The speaker cable doesn't stick out too much. So there you go, really happy with it. Apologies about the light. I've got a bit of a problem with this window to the side, so it's a little bit dark, but I think you get the idea of the effect of the speakers on low-level speaker stands. Obviously, you know, you can make these as high as you want with whatever legs you wanted to choose, but I wanted these fairly low down. So yeah, very happy with them. All right, I will see you in the next video. Bye.